Hi, today we are going to talk about the discounted cash flow model. It's a model that you can use to value a company and also find the true value of a stock price. So here we go. So this is an app that I built which you can pretty much automate the discounted cash flow model. So what we're going to do is input a stock ticker first. We're going to put Microsoft. We'll use that as an example. 2023 Q1, we'll use that data period. We're going to project future free cash flows for 5 years, and then the expected free cash flow growth rate. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can change that. So right here, we can take a look at some stock tickers, Microsoft, Google, and we'll go scroll down. Microsoft has an annual percent return from 2007 through 2022, an average annual percent return of 17.98. So let's go ahead and we're going to calculate using a margin of safety. We're going to calculate a conservative growth rate. Value investors like Warren Buffett like to use a conservative growth rate. So 17.98 times 0.75 go equals 13.485. So let's use that. So 13.485%, that's going to be our free cash flow growth rate, our conservative free cash flow growth rate. Rate of decline, so pretty much the rate of decline, it's going to decline the free cash flow growth rate by 5% every single year. The discount rate, we're using 9% as the discount rate because some index funds like the SP 500, the average rate of return is about 8%, but we want to be able to beat that return, so we're going to discount at 0.09 or 9%. The terminal growth rate is 0.025, which is 2.5%. The reason for this is because it is unsustainable. It's unsustainable for free cash flow to grow at a rate of 13.4% every single year. Over long term, this company is going to slow down. Microsoft is going to slow down its growth of free cash flows, and it'll probably see a terminal growth rate of about 2.5%. And so that's generally recommended here. All right, so we have the stock price as of when the 2023 Q1 data was released. And so the 2023 Q1 data, the financial statements from the SEC was released on 9/30/2022. The discounted cash flow model, it valued the Microsoft, at $54.58. So when we compare the two, the actual stock price value of $232.90 and $54.58, the price of the stock is currently, it is overvalued by 326% because the discounted cash flow model only projected at this price right here. All right, so steps and calculations used to arrive at the valuation. Firstly, we'll take a look at the input variables that we need. So cash generated by operating activities, we need that. Capital expenditures, cash and cash equivalents, we take long-term debt. Free cash flow, shares outstanding. Free cash flow growth rate, we inputted this, which is 13.48%. Growth decline rate, we inputted this as well. Discount rate, we inputted that. Terminal growth rate, we also inputted that earlier. And the number of years to project future cash flows, we also inputted that also. So step 2, after getting all of our variables, we would project our free cash flows and get the net present value of each of those cash flows. All right, so year 0, the free cash flow is calculated by this formula here. It's this number minus this number. And how we got that is we go up, we can scroll. The cash generated by operating activities subtracted by capital expenditures are these two values right here to get the free cash flow. All right, and so how do we get the, all right, so for the year 1 cash flows, how do we get this value right here? Well, what's nice is we have all the formulas calculated for us. So pretty much we take the year 0 free cash flow, which was the cash flow that was reported on the financial statements of 2023 Q1. We take that. Well, it wasn't necessarily reported, but we calculated this free cash flow, and then we multiply it by our conservative growth rate here. and that equals our free cash flow for year 1. But to get the net present value of the free cash flow for year 1, what we do is we take this formula here, the free cash flow of year 1, and then we discount it by 9%, and then to the power of the first year. So, and then we do the same thing in year 2 to get these values. And then we do that all the way to year 5, because that's what we inputted. We wanted to project free cash flows to year 5. And then for the terminal value, it has its own specific formula. So we'll take the free cash flows of year 5, and then we'll multiply it by our terminal growth rates, 1 plus our terminal growth rate, divide that by 0.09, which is our discount rate, as you can see up here, minus our long-term growth rate. So that's the formula here to calculate the terminal value free cash flow using the growth in perpetuity approach. And so there's another way to calculate terminal the free cash flow value using the exit multiple approach, but in this example, we're only going to use the growth in perpetuity approach, which uses this formula right here. So we take the net present value of the free cash flow of the terminal value to get this value right here. And again, all of this, these calculations are here. So if you want to use the website to calculate, if you're confused about any of the calculations, you can definitely open the financegenos.com and look at the values yourself and crunch the numbers. So step 3, we determine the true value of the company based on the calculated cash flows. So this number here is the sum of the net present value of free cash flows, including the terminal value and net present value of free cash flows. So basically, we're taking all the free cash flows from this column right here, including the terminal value of free cash flows, and summing that all together. And that would equal this number here. And then we add that, the cash and cash equivalents, which was one of our variables from step 1, and we subtract long-term debt. That would equal this number here, which is the company value based on the calculated free cash flows. And then we have to finally, step 4, get the true value of the stock based on the discounted cash flow model. We take our company value, and then we divided that by the number of shares outstanding to equal $54.58. And as we see up here, in the very top, the true value of the stock as of September 30, 2022 is $54.58. Thanks.